Man, it feels like every single day we're seeing some new, mind-blowing leap in AI, right? I mean, from generating these unbelievably realistic images to just crushing humans in complex games, the progress is, well, it's staggering. And all of it seems to be pointing toward this one very specific and pretty exciting future.
For decades, we've had this vision, a world where these smart robots are just seamlessly part of our lives. They're our helpful companions, making our daily routines way easier, more efficient. It's a great vision, for sure, but
what if the very foundation we're laying for these intelligent machines is, well, flawed? What if our whole approach, despite all the incredible successes, is actually taking us down a path we might seriously regret?
That is the huge question at the heart of this really fascinating new paper from some researchers in Sweden. And they make a really bold argument that our current way of designing AI agents is just fundamentally unsuitable for long-term real-world interaction. And they propose a pretty radical new way forward.
Okay, so what's the big deal? Well, the paper pinpoints two core problems with how we're doing things right now. They're the kind of problems that are easy to miss, but they have these massive consequences. The authors call them stagnant and generic.
let's break that down. So stagnant means an agent's knowledge is basically frozen in time, right? It's trained on a huge but static dataset. The world keeps changing, but the robot's understanding, it doesn't. And generic means it uses this one-size-fits-all knowledge base, so it totally fails to get the unique quirks of your home or your workflow. The paper argues we need the total opposite, agents that are mutable and situated, agents that can actually evolve with us and learn from our specific context.
So, if our current AIs are stagnant and generic, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, what's the actual danger of putting millions of these things into our world?
The authors have a name for it, and it is a powerful one: steamrolling. It's this idea that instead of AI adapting to our rich, diverse human cultures, we will be forced to adapt to the AI's limited, generic view of the world. Our creativity, our unique ways of working, our cultural nuances, they could all get flattened or steamrolled into a single, boring, AI-approved way of doing things.
And hey, this isn't some far-off sci-fi fear. The paper points to early signs that this is already starting to happen. Get this, researchers found that a huge chunk of scientific abstracts now have that distinct LLM flavor to them. And in brainstorming, while you might feel more creative using an LLM, the total pool of ideas the group comes up with is actually less diverse. We're already starting to think inside the box that the AI builds for us.
All right, so if steamrolling is the danger, what's the alternative? Well, the paper proposes a completely different goal for AI, a whole new paradigm they call coexistence.
Now, notice what this definition is all about. It's not about performance or optimization or even intelligence in the way we usually think about it. The goal here is to build agents that can keep meaningful and reciprocal interactions with us, not just for a minute, but over the long haul.
And this just brilliantly shows the difference. Right now, we have what's called unilateral interaction. The human adapts to the agent. You learn how to phrase your prompt just so. You have to move the chairs around so the robot vacuum doesn't get stuck. See? The arrow only points one way. Coexistence demands a reciprocal interaction, where we actually shape each other. The arrow points both ways. The agent learns from you, and you learn from it in this continuous mutual dance of evolution.
Okay, so how on earth do we build something like that? It sounds amazing, but tricky. The authors suggest we look for inspiration in a couple of fields that have pretty much mastered adaptation and evolution over millennia: biology and design theory. This classic quote from robotics pioneer Rodney Brooks just perfectly nails the core idea. Instead of trying to cram a perfect model of the entire world into an AI beforehand, we should build agents that can learn directly from the messy, dynamic, ever-changing reality they're actually living in.
And biology gives us some incredible clues. First, it shows that not everything is pre-programmed in the data or, the genome. The physical world itself plays a huge part in shaping an organism. A rodent's toes aren't just written in its DNA, they emerge from an interaction between proteins in actual physical space. And second, evolution isn't just this relentless optimizer hunting for one perfect solution. It uses randomness or genetic drift to explore new, weird, and sometimes wonderful possibilities. It cares about divergence just as much as convergence.
Now, over in the world of design, you see a similar pattern called the double diamond. It's this process of branching out, diverging to explore a problem, then coming back together, converging to define it. Then you do it again to brainstorm solutions, and finally converge to deliver the finished product.
So this process has a very clear beginning and a very clear end. But the paper asks this really powerful question. What if we just chopped off the beginning and the end? What if the process was just continuous?
And that leads to what they call the continuous double diamond. It's a perpetual cycle of exploration and refinement, of diverging and converging. And I love this, they call this process drifting, which creates a direct link right back to that idea of genetic drift from biology. It's all about being in a constant state of becoming, rather than just arriving at some finished state.
So we've got this really powerful theoretical foundation. Now, the paper lays out a practical blueprint for how we might actually start building these coexisting agents. They propose 6 key research directions to make this happen. Let's just touch on a couple. Embrace the user as the designer. That is a huge one. It totally flips the script. It turns you from just a passive consumer into an active co-creator of the AI's purpose. Then there's foster coexistence within the agent's morphology. That is, its physical body. Imagine building robots that can physically change over time, adapting their form and function to your actual needs. And this would all be driven by things like evolutionary algorithms, letting them learn and evolve with us in a truly reciprocal way.
So, we've gone from the problem to the solution to the blueprint. But let's just pull back for a second and ask the big question. Why does this choice of paradigm matter so much? I mean, what's really at stake here?
Look, the main conversation in AI today is all about the race to AGI, artificial general intelligence. It's about creating a single, superior intelligence. Coexistence, though, proposes a completely different endgame. It's not about building a better brain in a box, it's about building better relationships. The focus shifts from a single, all-powerful intelligence to a diverse, collaborative ecosystem of humans and agents all growing and learning together. I absolutely love this quote from the paper because it just gets right to the heart of it. The current view is that we have these predefined goals, and we just need an AI to get them done. But this paper argues that our goals aren't fixed. We figure out what we want and who we want to be through our interactions with the world, and that should include our technology.
So here it is, the crucial point. We're at a fork in the road. We can keep heading down this path of building stagnant, generic agents that risk steamrolling our culture into a bland, uniform mush. Or we can choose to build these mutable, situated agents that can coexist with us, becoming true partners in the ongoing, open-ended project of discovering what's next.
Ultimately, the question we all need to ask ourselves is a simple one, but the answer is going to define our future. Do we want tools that just do what they're told? Or do we want partners that can help us become something more than we are today? The choice really is ours.